Well, WashDOT is in the middle of working out an emergency route after a weight limit was placed on the aging Fairfax-Bridge in Pierce County. That plan will involve relying on private property owners. Meanwhile, WashDOT is putting the blame on lawmakers for not providing enough funding in recent years to keep up. And that got our newsroom thinking, what is the state of our bridges all across Washington?
And what are the preventative steps that can be taken to preserve our bridges, and why aren't they being done exactly? So Fox 13 Shira Matsuzawa looking into that for us and explains what she found. Shira.
There are around 7,500 bridges around our state that are open to traffic, and the expert I spoke with today say what can and can't be done, well, it all boils down to funding. You see them across the state. Most of us probably drive on a bridge or multiple bridges daily. For Evan Grimm, he doesn't just drive on bridges, it's his job to know their conditions.
Any bridge that is open to traffic is safe to drive over.
As the state bridge engineer for the Washington State Department of Transportation, Evan says crews are constantly inspecting bridges, collecting information on their conditions, and then rating them good, fair, or poor.
Poor doesn't necessarily mean that it's failing. It just means that it identifies more needs for us to do preservation activities for.
In King County, there are 928 WashDOT-owned bridges. Of those, 22 are currently rated in poor condition, several of them connected to high-traffic corridor, including on US 2, I-5, and I-90.
People should feel safe crossing any bridge that is open. However, the concern would come in when it comes to the long-term outlook, because it's less costly to spend money earlier in the life of a structure than it is to wait until the condition worsens.
Much like what we're seeing with the Fairfax Bridge.
Had this Fairfax Bridge been painted earlier in its life, as we recommended, then it would still be in better condition and we would not have had to load post it.
Painting is preventative maintenance for steel bridges because it protects them from corrosion. But Evans says because they didn't have the funding to do that, it allowed the bridge to rust, which then caused the bridge to weaken. Evans says they have received less funding over the last several years than they've needed to stay on top of the maintenance of the structures and their preservation. And while new federal funding helps, there's a backlog. He likens long-term preservation needs for bridges to preserving your house.
You need to paint the siding, and if you don't paint it, eventually you'll have to replace siding. And so it becomes more and more expensive over time.
The life expectancy on a bridge is 75 years. In Washington, there are more than 300 bridges that are 80 years or older. But Evans says don't let that concern you, because age is just one factor. The most important is the bridge's condition. And bridges and structures in our area are inspected once every 2 years. They tell me, though, they'll inspect it more if there are concerns. In the meantime, we'll have a complete list of those 22 bridges that have been rated as poor in King County on our website at fox13seattle.com. In Seattle, Shira Matsuzawa, Fox 13 News.